What I'll do is I'll just let you work through the questions. They're there that you can see, and then others feel free to ask questions and get involved in a bit of a dialogue. There's no great time pressure here. It's the last session, so I'm happy to let this run as long as we have questions.
Sure thing. I'll just scroll back up a bit. I think Kith Siri, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, had a couple. First one there was how to get the maximum out of a low resource setting. That's going to throw back. He's already been mentioned once in this conference, but one of my PhD supervisors was Bruce Elliott, and he was always about don't let the technology define your questions. Ask the questions and then utilise whatever technology you have around it. So it's always about asking the right questions, and that's how you get the most out of everything that you've got. Think the questions, ask the right questions to answer the questions you need answered. And that was a very important lesson for me early on. Next one. Is there a field of applied clinical biomechanics where clinicians can screen the athletes and send through to the biomechanists? Don't know specifically, but I do know there are starting to be, here in Brisbane, there are starting to be some sports science specific clinical centres that employ exercise physiologists and biomechanists. So someone through the football club I'm at, a couple of friends who have had injuries have started off working at a physiotherapist, and then as they've completed physiotherapist rehabilitation program, which might be the first month or two, then they've moved over to the sports scientist and the biomechanist clinical settings to finish the rehab. So it's not something I've used myself, and I'm not particularly aware of it, but it does seem to be something that's emerging. Has high tech kept application of biomechanics away from most? Depends what you mean by away from most there, Kithsiri. If it's away from most clinicians, then potentially the potentially high cost of technology might make it seem like a bit of a barrier. But hopefully, yeah, if there's still things you can access, like video. Everyone can get access to video. There's free video analysis software. So even at that level, I think that it's that accessibility. Perhaps it's just that translation, making people aware that it is accessible, that might be important. Any others there, Wayne? I can't see any more at the moment.
I can't tell you, but I'm going to ask you a question. So I know that over time, Vicon now has integrated sensors, inertial sensors into the system. Where do you see, and it was touched on in the video, where's the future, like where's Vicon's future? Is it to always continue to go with a sort of a system that has markers, or is it to go into more task representative and try to have multi-sensor systems that can actually do kinematics and kinetics, and with the work that Jackie's doing with the ground reaction forces, so will we get joint moments in the field? Like, what is the future, do you think?
Yeah, that's absolutely the future, is hands-off, and the ultimate endpoint of hands-off data collection is collecting in-match, in-game, multiple athletes. So that's where everything's heading. That it will get there eventually. But in terms of what Vicon is doing at the moment, their history and their strength is in marker-based technology, and that's established. It's still the benchmark, we think, and then Vicon is now diversifying around that. So yes, there's absolutely room for wearable sensors, because you can't always set up a camera system around a field of play. So if someone's running a marathon, you can put wearable sensors on them and send them off. And then even more hands-off than wearable sensors is the markerless video capture, and that's similar to inertial sensors. It's kind of been around for a while, but it's still building momentum, and it's getting that validation work behind it. So Vicon partnered with Thayer markerless motion capture in the last 12 months, and so Vicon's very much seeing that as a future pathway, and wants to be involved in that space as well. So it's getting there. and that will get there, but like inertial sensors have been around for a long time. They haven't exploded into every athlete in the world is wearing them yet. There's still development work and validation work ongoing with that, and that's a similar path that Marcellus I see taking. Is it'll move forward, absolutely, and that's going to be the future. But it's not quite ready for standalone deployment yet.
Yeah, I did have Thea come and give us a demonstration, and it does look pretty good, to be honest. And they've been sending me emails recently. Probably why no one else is asking a question. So how has like the muscle modelling open sim, getting more traction, changed the way you guys have done business? Has it changed it at all? Have you thought about embracing this aspect, or are you just going to continue to do what you do? I know you've changed a few things that I think maybe it was more open sim. Open sim has embraced your, I think you just import your C3D files where it used to be a different type of file that was hard to create, etc., etc. But have you guys changed, or you guys just see yourself continuing the same way?
Well, there's probably a few different strands that have expanded. So any Vicon users in this audience have probably used Vicon Nexus, the life science software, and it does a lot in there at once. One of the main strengths is that it can just be used as a data collection. If you want to handle your modeling, want to handle everything that happens after your raw data, you can capture it, pipeline it, data stream it in real time, or capture it and pipe it in afterwards into MATLAB, Python, OpenSim. It gives you that freedom as modeling researchers to take the raw data and do exactly what you want with it. On the other hand, not everyone is a musculoskeletal modeler. They don't have the time, the expertise to do that. They kind of want they want to capture data and then work through a pipeline that happens quite quickly and then get some results. And so perhaps they aren't as particular about how their joints are modeled. They just want to enact a validated model or an available model. And so that's where Nexus also has some strength in that it's got the built-in plug-in gate, the historical one. They're working with mental blank. They're developing CGM2. They're implementing clinical gate model 2 as that's being developed. And I've had a mental blank on who's doing that out of Italy. That's bad. Anyway, sorry. Fabian developing that in Italy. So that's been implemented as it's been developed and validated, and so now we're starting to see that roll out. And so you can have a really fast pipeline where you capture data, it's labelled, and then it's through, and you've got your model outputs. We've got a couple more in here now. From Kane, do you think that the utility, cost and ease of use of wearable sensors will open up more roles for professional sport for biomechanists? Yeah, I hope so. It's something that I feel like professional sport has never really, especially in Australia, might be a bit different in America, has never really established as standalone roles for biomechanists on sporting teams. There's been dietitians and physiologists and strength and conditioning, but a biomechanist, perhaps they're quite rare to have an established biomechanist on allocated to a sports team. So wearable sensors potentially absolutely brings that in. It's probably a bit of crossover there with biomechanists also being able to work in data science or in data management, as a few of our speakers from the video said. So someone on board a team who can capture that data and then interpret it and present it to the team, to the coaches, to the other sports science staff in a way that can be interpreted and used would be a really powerful person to have on a sports science team, I feel. But as biomechanist, I'm probably a little bit biased. Okay. Question from my PhD supervisor, Jacqueline. Hope there's nothing too curly in here. We have recently been quite successful in estimating knee moments from 2D video, but we needed to leverage marker-based tech for that. We also need it as a source of ground truth. Marker-based tech will be around as a necessary technology and as a critical validation and high resolution data source in the foreseeable future, in my honest opinion. Not a question, just a comment, so maybe I didn't need to read it all out. expecting there to be a question at the end. But yep, Jacqueline is absolutely the expert voice in this space, and so yeah, that's great insight from someone right on the cutting edge of that markerless and that markerless technology.
Is there any other questions for Denny? All right, mate. If there's no other questions, I will shut it down.
Yep.
Look, I'm happy to answer any questions. If there's anything else you want to say, if there's anyone out there who wants to ask a question.
I'll be hanging around on Twitter for the conference anyway, so if anyone wants to get in touch, at Logemas and at Denny_Wells, hit us up. We'll keep the discussion going, and yeah, looking forward to the rest of the conference.
And I'm hoping that, so when we do the social session, which I can't remember exactly what day, I'm hoping there will be some Logemas and Vicon guys there, and there'll be breakout rooms set up so you can actually call one-on-one virtually. It's kind of one-on-one. But look, I'd just like to thank Denny and also Alex from Vicon. Dan Cottam has done a question, so do you want to answer that first?
Regarding Kane's question, so Kane's question was about getting a biomechanist onto a professional sports team. I think the equalisation measures within a lot of Australian professional sports have meant that clubs have to limit spending to support staff. Hopefully they see biomechanists as more vital in the coming years. Yeah, absolutely. And I can't speak for internationally, but here in Australia, the supporting staff and money available to professional sporting teams has been greatly stripped back, with no crowds allowed in, no crowds allowed to see sport, or very limited crowds allowed to see sport with lockdown. So it's a bit of a reset. A lot of people have lost jobs, and that'll rebound as crowds come back. And yeah, maybe biomechanics can use that as biomechanists can use that maybe opening to make themselves feel heard and valuable. All right, there's the boss chiming in. He's paying attention. There you go. Nice little one-liner takeaway to finish on. We provide the paint, you do the painting.
Yeah, I don't mind that one. All right, so I'll shut it down there. Look, a big thanks to Vicon for all the effort in making the video and being here for the session. As always, you guys are above and beyond. So, and also thank you for everyone who's come and listened, and we'll shut that down as the end of the first session. I'm going to eat some lunch, and we're in lockdown, so I need to sort out some schoolwork with my son, which is he'll need to do his PE. But all right, guys, thank you very much, and enjoy your lunch if you're in Australia, your dinner if you're in America, and we'll see you all in about 5 hours' time. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.